What would happen if you deleted every social media app from your phone for an entire year? No Instagram scrolling, no TikTok dopamine loops, no Twitter rabbit holes at 3 a.m., no Facebook updates you don't even care about, just silence. That's exactly what I did. And I'm here to tell you something. My brain didn't just change, it rebooted. Day one felt like pulling the plug on life support. My thumbs were restless, twitching for an app that wasn't there. I kept unlocking my phone, staring at the empty spaces where icons used to be, panicking as if I'd lost oxygen. That's when I realized this wasn't a habit. This was an addiction. See, social media hijacks your dopamine. It's designed just like a slot machine in Vegas. Every refresh, every scroll, every ding gets unpredictable reward. That unpredictability trains your brain to crave the next hit. Quitting meant going cold turkey. I didn't have withdrawal headaches, but I had something scarier. Silence, boredom, no constant noise to fill my day, and my brain hated it. The first month was brutal. Waiting in line at the store, I had nothing to distract me. Sitting alone at lunch, no escape hatch into the digital crowd, my brain screamed, check something, anything. That's when I realized how much I had trained myself out of boredom. And boredom, as I later learned, is not the enemy. Boredom is the birthplace of creativity. But I had killed that gateway with endless scrolling. By month 2, something incredible started to happen. My attention span, shattered for years, began stitching itself back together. I could read 10 pages of a book without flipping to my phone, then 20, then 50. My brain, once jerky and scattered like a web browser with 97 tabs open, began to focus. It was like finding a muscle I hadn't used since childhood. Science explains why. When you flood your brain with constant stimulation, your baseline dopamine levels drop. You need more chaos just to feel normal. That's why a 2-hour binge on TikTok leaves you empty instead of full. But when I cut all that noise, my dopamine reset. Ordinary things started to feel extraordinary. Making coffee, going for a walk, even having a basic conversation. My brain wasn't sprinting ahead for distractions, it was here. By month 3, I started noticing real changes in social interactions. Without the crutch of digital validation, conversations felt rawer, but also richer. Suddenly, I wasn't half listening while half crafting a clever Instagram caption in my head. I was listening like, actually listening. People noticed too. Friends said, you feel more present. Imagine that, being fully alive in a world where everyone else's eyes are glued to screens. Month 6 was the turning point. Something surreal revealed itself. I had time. Do you know how much time social media steals? The average person spends 2 to 4 hours a day scrolling. Multiply that by a year, hundreds of hours. That's like losing weeks of your life every single year. Without it, my days stretched wide open. Suddenly, I wasn't busy anymore. I picked up hobbies. I'd forgotten playing guitar, journaling, learning photography. My productivity at work doubled. The fog lifted. But here's the dark part. I also saw how addicted the people around me were. At dinners, phones stayed on the table like loaded weapons, buzzing with phantom notifications. Friends half laughed at memes while I wanted to talk about actual life. It was like I was living in 2 worlds, one digital crack house, one reality. And being clean made me acutely aware of how poisoned we all are. Around month 8, my brain entered what I can only describe as deep stillness. My anxiety, which I never realized was being fed by constant comparison and invisible pressure, dropped drastically. No more. Why is she traveling there? Why is his life cooler than mine? Why don't I look like that? Without a feed, I wasn't measuring myself against impossible illusions. And when comparison stopped, contentment finally had space to grow. I didn't suddenly become a monk or anything, but I started waking up feeling lighter. By the 1-year mark, my brain felt fundamentally rewired. The person who once woke up to check notifications before brushing their teeth now woke up savoring mornings. The person who couldn't tea-sit with 5 minutes of silence could now spend hours in flow working on projects or simply existing. The person who always looked outward for validation found it inside instead. Here's the truth. Quitting social media didn't just give me more focus, it gave me back myself. Let's zoom out for a second. Psychologists call what I experienced dopamine, detox, and neural pruning. When you starve your brain of junk stimulation, it reorganizes, sharpening pathways tied to patience, focus, and creative thought. That's what I felt my brain rewiring from cheap, fragmented thinking toward deeper, sustained clarity. But here's the twist. I didn't quit forever. After 365 days, I did come back. But this time, I came back on my terms. Once you see the system, you can't unsee it. I no longer check feeds compulsively. I use platforms as tools, not vending machines for novelty. 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there. No more endless doom scrolls. And when I feel the hook sinking in, I log out. My brain won't go back into the cage. So what's the core lesson? Social media isn't evil. It connects people, spreads ideas, gives us creativity. But when you give it your entire attention budget, it bankrupts you. Most people live with bankrupt brains, too drained to notice it, too distracted to escape. Quitting taught me this. Your attention is your life. Guard it like treasure. And the irony? When you live without social media, you realize life itself is the ultimate feed. Every interaction, every sound, every detail becomes content. You don't scroll through life, you live it. I didn't just quit social media for 365 days. I quit handing over my brain. And once I took it back, everything focus, peace, energy, joy came rushing in like oxygen after decades underwater. So the question is, what would you discover if you uninstalled the feed? You just might find yourself